Okay, hello everyone and welcome back to Injustice 2. In this Injustice 2 video, I am going to be covering 3 techniques that are extremely underused in online gameplay. Now, these techniques might be things that are not very well explained in the game. Some are situational, but they're just things that I do not see anyone use. And they all have their own purposes. So basically the goal of this video is to kind of also condition myself to use these techniques because sometimes I forget about them too, but also to kind of show people what are some things that they should be integrating into their gameplay. Now, the first thing, probably the most common one that I don't see is throwing. People just do not want to throw online. And it's really kind of weird. Maybe it's because of the kind of more full screen zoning nature of Injustice, because throws were actually fairly common in MKX. A lot of people threw, but in this game, so few people utilize it. The most, like, the type of players that throw the most are probably people who play Superman. You know, after activating the buff, people like to go for throws, and of course, conversely, people very rarely tech in the game. Now, teching is kind of a guessing game. If it's a forward throw, you have to hit the punches, if I remember correctly. If it's a back throw, you have to hit the kicks. It might be the other way around. I'm not 100% sure. So that is a prediction, but you see yourself get thrown, you might as well push one of the buttons, and it's a 50-50 guess. However, throwing does serve some very important purposes. First of all, it is decently good at pushing your opponent into the corner, especially if you're at kind of this range. You've basically gotten your opponent into the corner. Now, of course, one of the problems, and this is kind of more problematic of Injustice 2 in general, is that I feel that throws leave way too much space between you and the opponent. Especially since throwing is mostly going to be done by characters who are more up close. Like Wonder Woman, she does not have the best zoning, so she's more of kind of like a pressure character. She's going to be throwing quite often, or she should be. However, once you throw, it's like, do you really want to be in this range against the opponent? In the corner, throws are a lot more strong. So one of the best ways to utilize throws is off of plus frames. So Wonder Woman has not this, but this move that is extremely plus, even though it does have a gap in it. After this, you can pretty reliably go for a throw, because basically anything your opponent does is gonna be beaten by this, unless they of course do an armored move, but you know, they have to waste a meter for that. Of course, the other option to get out of these kind of situations is to jump. Now, other than that, another practical use for throws, and let's see if I have this set up well. Yep. Is to beat opponents who are relying very heavily on plus frames or strings that are just barely negative. Let me kind of demonstrate on Atrocitus. So this string that I just did at the start is -1. Basically, anything I try to do after is gonna get beaten out, because even though, again, the string is not plus, the only thing I can get is a down 1. Now, of course, Wonder Woman might not be the best example for this, because Wonder Woman does actually get a combo off of her down 1 because she has the string. However, some other characters really cannot get a lot of their down 1. Captain Cold, my other main character, is probably a perfect example for this. The main thing he can do is probably down 1 into the ice wall. However, if you time it right, which of course everything is a little bit about timing, you can throw. And throws are always a reliable source of damage. Again, you do have to time it. But if you time it right, you send your opponent full screen, you can start zoning, and you've dealt reliable damage. Again, Wonder Woman is not the best example to show this with, but other characters can punish a lot of these things with throws. Superman is also a character you can do that with if they really abuse that 4-2-3 string. You can throw in between that. There is a gap. Also with Captain Cold, he has the main string. I think it's 4-2-3. That is also something that can be thrown. Alright, the next technique we're going to be covering is push blocking. That wasn't a push block, but push blocking is a defensive tool. Actually, I would say probably one of the best defensive tools in the game. At least if you're playing against a character that is once again very reliant on pressure, such as Atrocitus, even though his pressure has gotten toned down. Push blocking, of course, is done by pressing forward and meter burn when you're blocking something. It's kind of like a V reversal in Street Fighter V. Now, push blocking is something that no one does online, and it's really weird because, again, it's for one bar, it is one of the best defensive tools in the game. You'd have to kind of get used to it because you have to go very quickly from blocking. See, like if you mistime it, you are gonna let go of block and get hit. However, for 1 meter, this is definitely the best defensive option in the game against certain characters. Obviously, if the opponent is very zoney, it's gonna be kind of hard to utilize push blocking. But against like Superman, Atrocitus, even something like Cheetah, the Flash, this is a really, really good technique. For 1 bar, you can push them full screen, stop their pressure. If you have a look at this again, let me record this again. Oops, I actually want Dexter as well to demonstrate. With certain characters, such as Atrocitus, push blocking actually takes away from Dexter, and it takes away quite a large chunk. So against certain characters, the really up close pressure heavy characters, push blocking is very, very worth it. A lot more than you would think like a meter burn is worth it, a meter burn roll or an air escape. Just get them off before they can even open you up. Now the final technique we're going to be covering, and I think this is one of the most useful ones, is meter burn interactables. Now don't get me wrong, people do use interactables quite often in online play. However, almost no one uses their meter burn version. Meter burn interactables are incredibly useful because they have multiple hits of armor. And in this game, meter burn interactables are the only way you can get multiple hits of armor. So like, what happens when you get knocked down in the corner? You can go for a wake up. You can just block if you think your opponent is going to anticipate. If your opponent is anticipating your wake up, you can throw them into the corner, or you can try something stupid like going for some button. However, you also have the option in certain stages of a meter burn interactable. And let me kind of demonstrate this. If I record Atrocitus doing a knockdown and doing this, of course oops, I should get hit by that. Of course, I can go for a wake up. That is fine. However, wake ups are of course predictable and punishable. Instead, a second option is to go for a meter burn interactable. And sure, you take some damage with it, but you've spent 1 bar and you've got him off your ass. And as you can see, the armor on this is almost impossible to break. Now, of course, meter burn interactables can be predicted as well. However, some are actually unblockable. If I remember correctly, I'm fairly sure the car on the Gotham City stage is unblockable. Second of all, meter burn interactables are incredibly plus on block. Much safer to do than many of the wake ups. Of course, some characters have safe wake ups like Wonder Woman, some characters don't. So going for this is definitely a viable option, because even if your opponent anticipates it, they are going to be stuck in block stun, allowing you some options. Now, of course, the non-power characters, and you know, power characters are like Superman, Supergirl, Wonder Woman, Atrocitus. Non-power characters like Deadshot here can also utilize the corner interactables. For example, here, actually I don't know what this is. Let me see. Yeah, now see. That's exactly what I was trying to show. I was trying to show a wall run, but this will do as well. Some stages have wall runs, which is about as free an escape as you can get from the corner. They just kind of like run up the wall and jump over the opponent. If you meter burn it, again, multiple hits of armor, it's about as free an escape as you can get. However, this throw is a pretty good demonstration as well. So let's have a look at this. I'm gonna do the same thing as before. As you can see, for 1 bar, I was able to switch corners with the opponent. This one has weird timing, but I switched corners with the opponent and I escaped. I think for 1 bar that is definitely a good trade. So again, meter burn interactables, use them because not many people know about them. For example, even I didn't know that that interactable was a grab. And they can offer you essentially as free an escape from the corner as you can get in this game. So these were 3 techniques that are kind of very underused online. I hope that with this video you can kind of understand these techniques better and integrate them into the gameplay more, because they do definitely help, and because many people don't know about them, especially the interactable ones, you can catch people off guard. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it. There are more Injustice tutorials as well as character guides on my channel. If you enjoyed, thanks for watching, hope to see you next time, and goodbye.